I am 61 years old. I have never had a procedure, and I have never bought a lifting cream. But almost every morning since I was 38, I have stood in front of the bathroom mirror and done one exercise. It takes 2 minutes. In Japan, we don't talk about it much, because it is simply something you do, like brushing your teeth. And before we begin, let me be honest with you, because I think you have been promised too much by too many people. 2 minutes a day is not surgery. It will not move bone. Anyone who tells you they can give you a new face in 5 days is selling you something. But 5 days from now, I want you to stand in the morning light and look at the fold beside your mouth. I think you will see something different there. Softer, a little higher. Not because your skin changed, because something underneath your skin finally woke up. Let me show you what my grandmother showed me. First, I want to take something off your shoulders. Your cheeks are not falling because you did something wrong. You did not fail to buy the right cream. You did not drink too little water in your 40s. What is happening under there is mechanical, and it happens to every face, including mine. Underneath the skin of your cheek, you do not have one smooth layer of fat. You have small separate pads, sitting one above another, each one held in place by thin curtains of connective tissue. When you were 30, those pads sat high, right up on the bone beneath your eye. That is the roundness people call the apple of the cheek. Then two things begin, quietly, at the same time. The tissue holding those pads loosens, so the fat slides downward. And the bone underneath, the upper jaw, the rim under the eye, very slowly loses a little of its own volume. So the shelf that was holding everything up gets smaller, at the same time as the weight coming down onto it gets heavier. And where does that sliding stop? Right beside your mouth. That fold is not really a wrinkle. You did not make it by smiling too much. It is a seam. It is the line where the descent comes to rest. Now you understand why the creams did not work. A cream works on the top layer of the skin, and it can genuinely soften the surface. I use oil on my face every night. But this is happening far below the surface. No cream reaches it. That is not marketing failure. That is anatomy. So the West reaches for the next thing down. Filler. Put the volume back where the volume went. And it works, and it is expensive, and it must be repeated, and it still does not touch the part I want to talk to you about. Because under those fat pads, there is one more layer. There are muscles, 20 of them, roughly, in the middle of your face alone. And here is what I have never understood about Western daily life. You go to the gym for your arms. You walk for your heart. And then you spend the entire day with your face almost perfectly still. At a screen, in a car, in a meeting where nobody makes a big expression. Everything else in your body gets used. Your face gets held. We will come back to what that costs you. First, I want to tell you where this exercise comes from, because it is not a secret, and I do not want you thinking it is. In Japan, there is a phrase, kao no taisu. It simply means face exercise. There is also a more modern name, kao yoga, face yoga. And there are Japanese teachers who have built whole schools around it and taken it out into the world. It is on morning television. It is in magazines my mother reads. It is not hidden. It is only ordinary. And I think that ordinariness is the real difference, more than any single movement of the hands. In many Western bathrooms, the face is attended to when something goes wrong. A line appears, so you buy something. That is emergency repair. The way I was raised, the face was attended to every single day, whether anything was wrong or not, in the same unhurried category as washing rice or airing the bedding. Maintenance, not rescue. My grandmother was born in 1922. She lived through a war. She raised 4 children, and she had almost nothing on her shelf. A small jar of camellia oil and a cotton cloth. I remember standing beside her in front of a low mirror when I was maybe 7 years old. She would put a little oil on her fingers, warm it between her palms first, and then she would lift. Not rub. Lift. She told me the same sentence every time, and I still hear it in her voice. The skin follows the muscle. Take care of what is underneath, and the top will follow. She was not quoting a study. She had never read one. But she had noticed something true. And 40 years later, a group of researchers went and measured it. In 2018, dermatologists at Northwestern University published the first proper clinical trial of facial exercise. They took women aged 40 to 65, trained them with a certified instructor, and had them exercise at home for 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks, then every other day out to 20 weeks. At the end, 2 dermatologists, who did not know which photograph was which, compared the before and after. What improved most statistically was upper cheek fullness and lower cheek fullness. Exactly the place we are working today. And the raters guessed the women were about 3 years younger at the end than at the start. Now, I promised you honesty. That was a small study. 27 women began it, and 16 finished. There was no comparison group. The authors themselves said it needs to be repeated at a larger scale, and I agree with them. It is a first piece of evidence, not a law of nature. But it points at exactly what my grandmother was doing with her hands in 1970. So, let us do it. There are 5 parts, and I want you to learn them by name, because then you will never need to rewind this video again. Part 1 is the anchor. Sit or stand tall, shoulders down and back, chin level, not lifted, not tucked. Warm a single drop of oil between your palms. Any oil your skin likes. I use camellia, my daughter uses squalane. It does not matter. The oil is not the treatment. The oil is so your fingers glide instead of dragging. Now, place the flat pads of your first 2 fingers, not the tips, not the nails, on the top of your cheekbone, just under the outer corner of your eye. You should feel hard bone under your fingers. That is the anchor. Your fingers hold the bone. They never pull the skin. Say that with me, because it is the one thing that can make this worse instead of better. Never drag downward on skin. Part 2 is the lift. Keep your lips gently closed and smile. But smile with the intention of lifting, as though you were trying to raise the apple of your cheek toward your ear without letting your teeth show. Under your fingers, you should feel a small, firm ball rise up and press against them. That is your cheek muscle. That is the whole point of this video. Hold it there while I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release slowly all the way down. Part 3 is the resistance hold. And this is where the actual work happens. Same anchor, same closed mouth lift. But this time your fingers press gently down and slightly outward against the muscle as it rises. So the muscle has to work against something. Very light pressure. If your skin moves, you are pressing too hard. Lift against the fingers. Hold for a count of 3. Release. We are going to do 10 of those, and I want you to do them with me now, in real time, in your mirror. Lift, 2, 3, release. Lift, 2, 3, release. That is 2. Keep your shoulders down. Lift, 2, 3, release. 3, breathe out on the release. Most people hold their breath, and then they wonder why their jaw is tight. 4, 5, halfway. Lift, 2, 3, release. 6, 7. You may start to feel a small burn high in the cheek. That is correct. 8, 9. And the last one, a little slower. Lift, 2, 3, and release. Part 4 is the release, and please do not skip it. Fluid has moved into that area while you worked, and now we send it home. With 2 flat fingers, tap very lightly along the fold beside your mouth. 5 taps, then glide, light as stroking a cat, out along the jaw, up in front of the ear, and down the side of the neck. 3 times on each side. Light pressure. This part is not muscle work, it is drainage. Part 5 is the timing. 2 minutes in the morning on clean skin with that 1 drop of oil. Morning matters more than evening for one simple reason. Overnight, your face has collected fluid, and you are clearing it before the day sees you. That is the whole thing. Anchor, lift, resistance, release, timing. If you just did that with me, and I hope you did, because reading about it does nothing, put the words day 1 in the comments. I like to see how many of us are starting on the same morning. And if you would like the follow-ups for the jaw and the eye area, subscribing is how you will get them. That is all I will say about that. Now, the 5 days. Here is what actually happens, honestly, day by day. Day 1, you will feel a mild ache high in the cheek an hour or 2 later, the way you would after a first day of any new movement. That ache is your feedback that you found the right muscle. If you feel nothing at all, your fingers are probably too low. They belong on bone, up under the outer eye. Day 2, you will look in the mirror and see nothing. Nothing at all. This is the day most people quit. And I want to take that decision away from you in advance by telling you now, there is nothing to see on day 2. Do it anyway. Day 3, the change begins where you did not expect it. First thing in the morning. Less heaviness under the eye. Less of that puffy, unrested look. That is the drainage work, and it is the fastest thing to shift. Day 4. Look at yourself in indirect light, near a window, not under a bathroom bulb from above. The fold beside your mouth will read a little less deep. The shadow is shorter. Day 5, take the photograph. And here is the part you must do today before you forget. Take the first photograph now. Same window, same time of morning, same angle, no smile, no makeup. Without the day 1 photograph, your own eyes will lie to you in both directions. You will either see a miracle that is not there, or miss a real change because you see this face every day. Which brings me to what makes this work, and what makes it fail. 3 things multiply it. First, sleep on your back if you possibly can. Pressing one side of your face into a pillow for 7 hours compresses exactly the tissue we just lifted. Second, watch salt at dinner, not salt in general. Sodium late in the evening is a common reason for a swollen face at 7 in the morning. Third, drink your water earlier in the day and ease off in the last hour before bed. It is the same total water. It simply does not arrive in your face overnight. And 3 things ruin it. The first is pulling the skin. If your fingers slide, you are stretching the very tissue you want to support. Anchor on bone. The second is doing this on dry skin, which is the same mistake with a different cause. The third is enthusiasm. Someone will watch this and do 10 minutes on day 1, wake up sore, do 8 minutes on day 2, and stop by Thursday. 2 minutes is not a starting dose. 2 minutes is the dose. I should also say the obvious thing plainly. This is a daily habit, not a medical treatment. If you have had recent facial surgery, an injury, jaw pain, or any condition affecting your facial nerves or muscles, ask your doctor before you start pressing on your face. So, how do you reduce wrinkles in 5 days? You do not entirely, not the deep ones. What you change in 5 days is the tone of the muscle underneath, the fluid sitting on top of it, and the direction everything is being held. The fold does not disappear. It softens, because the shelf beneath it is doing its job again. And then, if you keep going, the slothing starts. The study I mentioned ran for 20 weeks, not 5 days. 5 days is the proof that it works. The months afterward are where it becomes your face. The exercise is 2 minutes. What you eat is the other 22 hours. And I have a video on the foods that support collagen in your skin from the inside, which is the natural companion to this one. I will leave it for you. Take your photograph today. Then come back on day 5 and tell me exactly what you see beside your mouth. Better, the same, or nothing at all. I read every comment, and I want the honest ones most. 2 minutes, in front of the mirror, starting tomorrow morning.